There we go. What is up, everybody? Once again, welcome to the Skool News on the 25th of March. Today, we're going to be covering the Skool Games. There is less than 72 hours minus 3 minutes for the Skool Games to end. And for those who don't know, this is the Skool Games. It can be found at the Games tab at the top of Schoolers, and it's basically a competition to see who can grow their school community the most in 90 days. Top 5 in every category win an all-expense-paid trip to LA, and it's going to be epic. It's going to be in LA. Hormozi is going to be there, and you win this. Oh, it's heavy. Oh, I can hardly pick it up. This school trophy. So, Evelyn, before we dive in and show everybody on the leaderboard and even show a little hype trailer that we've prepared, you won the first Skool Games. You were one of the winners. What was your experience like competing and winning?
I think it was like a once in a lifetime experience. We were diving in, not knowing what we should expect, and first I didn't have any high hopes to even make it on the data board, but it happened that after somebody was busted. I still remember there was like a community for 9.99 and they were like ranking up super quickly and I was getting really scared for where things were going. And then they were busted and then suddenly the leaderboard changed and somehow we came on the first place and we were defending it all the way until the last day when Hamza was taking me down, which was like so painful to keep, watching it. And there was like the hope to fight because we were fighting with an $8 community and I think his was 119 or 121 at that time. So, but he was better prepared, and it was really a wild ride and one of the most intense months in my business in total. Like we generated $81,000 in new monthly recurring revenue in that month, and that was crazy.
All right, well, let's go through the leaderboards at the moment. Let's start with the hobbies category. We have Gabriella in the first spot with some group I can't pronounce. Evelyn, maybe you can pronounce this.
I think it means like Norwegian with Gabriella, but it's so
Okay.
cool that it's a language community, right? Because I didn't have that on the radar at all. But there's so much opportunity for language communities. And I remember I had one lovely member in my communities for years, and she was teaching people. She was helping parents to teach their children Urdu, right? So it's like, a lot of people, they have like, or my husband, he's from India, so his family teaches Punjabi, or speaks Punjabi with each other, and my son can't speak it. And so for me, it's a desire that he learns it. And so I think that's there's so many beautiful sub niches with languages. Or another member I know, she teaches people how to cook in Greek, right? So Greek food and Greek language. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think that that's such a rich, like that alone is such a huge pool of, different communities and vibes people can create. So absolutely love to see the languages there. Again, like something I would have not anticipated or thought of about at all.
It's one of my favorite things about the new Skool Games and Discovery updates that were created to School Discovery is that now I'm able to see so many of these tiny, niche, obscure communities
Hmm.
that I would have no idea would have ever existed. Like this group by Gabriella, who's top of hobbies at the moment, it's intended for Romanians who want to learn Norwegian. So not
Wow.
just like learn Norwegian, only for Romanians. Like, can you get more niche than that?
Oh my goodness. Can you show me the monthly recurring revenue growth again, please?
Yes, she has added $7,000 in monthly recurring revenue since the
For
start of.
Romania, and if you're not from Europe, you might not know, but Romania is not that big. It's like, and then the percentage of the population that wants to learn Norwegian, holy mackerel, like you must be thinking that that's so small. Um, wow, that's
Most people
really an
would never
incredible job.
even start this community because they would say, there's no way this is possible. It's too niche. There's not going to be enough
Yes.
people interested. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, like how they break those limiting beliefs just by purely existing. And again, it goes to Sam's like argument: create the community that you want to have, right? Because that solves it in itself. The next one is also really cool if we want to dive into this, because that was also so unexpected. This is people who love Paris and want to learn to explore Paris like properly. I
Wow.
mean, I can see this working with New York, London. Like, I mean, there's so many people who are obsessed with cities. My sister, she's gorgeous lady, and she loves London. Like she's obsessed with London, and she just travels there, at least once a year. And I can totally see her, having a community like this. And I mean, it's almost 700 people. Look at that.
That's so true. If someone has no idea what community to start, but you live in some city that people are interested in, or even a country that people are interested in, this could
Yeah.
definitely be repeated in every single country or city that people are interested in.
Honestly, I think like travel advisors. So, for example, when we had the mastermind event in Vienna, we had a lady and she was doing a city tour with us. And I booked somebody who is like, her reputation is that she makes it a little bit naughty, like interesting from, what did the kings and queens, like what shenanigans were they up to and all of that.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I think that somebody who is a city guide, right, or who organizes travel, I think that there's a big opportunity for people who help others travel better. Another member of mine, she actually helps people who bought an RV or plans to buy an RV to actually make use of it because it's, from her own journey, how challenging it was to operate it after the purchase and to actually use it. So I think the whole travel one is also totally underrated and we're going to see so much coming.
I think that's a great point. And I think one of the coolest things about these different school communities is that if you just start a fitness community, there's a lot of other fitness communities and there's a lot of other advice about fitness. But one of the great things about this is that you can just put yourself into the community. And the most famous example of this is Anime Shreds, where it's a
Mm.
normal fitness community, but because he was very interested in anime, and he added that to the community. Now this community has so much personality. And I can imagine your friend who's the travel advisor just being really interested in all the juicy gossip between the kings and the queens. So now she introduces that into her work and it makes it so much more interesting.
Yeah, that's so true. Like the layering of the different interests. I love that she said that there's one in fitness, if we want to jump into the fitness category,
Yep.
because that also was eye-opening to me. Her community is just called Lean,
Oh, yeah.
right? So it's her journey. And I'm always like so mind blown by this because it's like, isn't she selling what everyone in fitness is selling, yet it works for her because it's her and her journey authentically, and she just finds a way for people to want to follow her path because it's her, the way she does it, right? And I think that's also beautiful. It's like, okay, you can either go niche and do something nobody else has done before, or you do something that clearly is validated and you just do it super authentically. I mean, what is that little thing called? Like it's her with the garden work, right? So
Oh, yeah.
it's so cool. It's just she just brings her personality, and because of that, it's a new opportunity, right? Because it's her. So I think that's another way of looking at it, right? So you can either do something completely new, or you can just do something proven but infused by this is just me, right? So really, really exciting to see it.
One of the things you say is that you can monetize your personal growth story. What does that
Hmm.
mean?
That basically has been so. I've been trying to find better ways to describe what I do because I started actually teaching people ads, right? And then I realized that most people are not ready for ads because they have not built an offer that will click with cold traffic, right? So most people, when they sell through the relationships they have built, that parasocial relationship. And so your offer actually doesn't have to be this good if you've built a really strong connection with your audience or if you just know how to sell. But when you're trying to sell to cold traffic, from my experience is that the offer really needs to be very, very good because that's the only, point of information people have. And so the first thing that I try to teach people is how do you create an offer that will click with cold traffic? And a big part of making the offer click with cold traffic is the solution discovery story. Why this offer in this way? Which means that you have to have walked the talk to be able to properly articulate that. And so that's the next membership I introduced was just teaching people how do you get to that point where you're articulating this. And because I lacked a better word and more experience at this point, I called it Coach Growth Hub because it was like marketing foundations for coaches. But with the industry, what I learned is like we just call ourselves coaches, but we're actually not coaches, right? So I love when I discovered your community, it's synthesizers. That made a ton of sense to me. The way I conceptualize it is like experience worker, right? So we're putting ourselves into a situation where we are achieving a societally accepted goal, right? So something that everybody wants. Lean, being, discovering Paris, learning the splits, learning the handstand, learning how to jump high, right? So it's like, it can be the smallest thing. It can be learning how to meal prep consistently. And then you learn to do it and you document exactly what you do it and what comes up. Because you can like guarantee if you try to meal prep consistently for a month, you've never done it before, there's so many micro learnings you have, right, about this. And when you document it, you can basically templatize that for others, and then that's the growth journey you sell. And that's the what I believe is a great way. And I love coaching. It has its place. It can be a part of this, right? It can be separate, but I think most of us, what we actually do is just templatizing experience that we had, right? And on this journey, that also I think makes it more authentic because we all are not expert, and we all learn from others. As I'm doing these things, for example, I can reference back and say, I learned this from a Hormozi video. I learned this during the 100 with Kirby, right? So it's just you also, like you explained this really well, you have a curation function as well. And so that's what I mean when I say monetize your personal growth journey. Also goes hand in hand with what Sam says, right? Just talk about what you've done. Do cool stuff, talk about the stuff.
100%. I feel like what you're talking about there hits on some truth that's so hard to articulate, but really explains how a lot of people have won the school games and a lot of successful school groups work. A couple phrases that I've heard that have been valuable to help me understand it is your pain becomes your product. So whatever pain that you've had, that you've battled with, that you've struggled with for ages, and then you've overcome is the thing that you then help other people overcome.
Yeah.
And the other phrase is solve problems, share solutions. If you just solve the problems you have in your own life, and then when you solve them, you share how you did it, that's the valuable process that becomes really valuable for other people.
I love this. I would love to nuance it a little bit because I think where my people often like get super tripped up is like, okay, but I have never done anything that's painful. I've never, so they don't understand like pain can also be just a nuance. Like it's just annoying to do it, right? Or I just don't know how to do it. So I think if you want to think about it as in like for those hobby niches, for example, think of creative burden is I think one, right? So people actually thinking through, for example, when you're planning a road trip, it's not painful to do it like per se, right? Or it's not what people would conceptualize as a pain, but you can think is there goes creative burden into it as in you have to research it, you have to vet opportunities, etc. Right? So when somebody can just sit down and do this work for you, you're also relieving pain, right? But that's the kind of pain that I think you're also referring to, right? It doesn't have to be years of hardship and struggle.
100%. Like figuring out whether to use plastic or glass Tupperware in meal prep isn't painful, but it is kind of painful if you get what I mean.
Exactly. That's true.
All right. So those were the top two in the hobbies categories. Another thing that I've noticed that's really interesting is how many different languages are starting to pop up on
Yes.
Skool. Before
Yes,
it used
so
to be
cool.
English, 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 English. Now this community is in, I believe, French, and it's just amazing. So shout out to all the French groups, German groups, Swedish groups, Romanian groups, all the different languages. We love you on Skool.
So cool to see. There's one that I want to highlight in the spiritual category that is actually a German one, which is the next level identity. So, I was going through and I was clicking on it and I was like, wow, there's actually a German community, right? And I didn't, okay, I don't want to sound like I have prejudice, but I wasn't thinking, that the German community would be like so, forward with this type of coaching. And it's super cool to see it there.
Shout out to Calvin Hollywood. I feel like he's
Oh
been a
yeah,
big part
he's
in bringing Skool to Germany.
he is. He has been pioneering it, and he does such an amazing job in his community. Um, and in general, like with community leadership, I've learned so much from him. Just observing how he does things through the line, his thinking. Um, Good shout out.
And it seems like in the hobbies category, it looks like we have a learn languages in first, a learn languages in third, and a learn languages in fifth. So
Hmm.
interesting to see that even in the hobbies category, learning languages seems to be a clear thing that's proven that works as well as this dog training community. That's really cool.
Dog training is like such a classic affiliate thing. Do you remember the ClickBank times?
Yeah.
And then when the ClickBank affiliate teachers came out, they would all teach you how to sell dog training. And I'm
Really?
yeah, that was a thing. I swear, dog training, PNF stretching. There were like a few, so kind of golden affiliate niches that would always work. And I feel like they're coming back on Skool. So it's like there's certain
Mm.
things people just want help with. So that might be a good study to just go on YouTube and dig out those old affiliate marketing videos with ClickBank and see what programs did they recommend or just what's selling well there. It might give you some creative ideas.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. That's worth doing. And the hook of this video, like look at the dog that's like clearly pushing
Leash
away.
pulling.
That's such a good visual hook that makes me wanna watch this video. All right, well, that's the hobbies category. In the music category, it looks like we have a trumpet learning community in the number one
So
spot.
cool again.
Very cool. Join before March 28th, get a free one-on-one onboarding call. Nice little bonus. Cancel anytime, join now. Very cool.
If I had the skill and if I was a male, I would totally make a like learn to play the guitar to seduce her community. Because really, I think like the amount of men I know learn to play guitar so that they can play for a girl, I think it's a total market. But unfortunately, I cannot have this personal growth journey. But I think it would be a hit.
The problem is would that go in hobbies or love? Which category would
This
that
goes
go in?
in, I would be strategic about it. See, okay, where's the lower MR total? Can we check right now? Is it
Yeah, we can
in
check.
romance or is it in music?
Let's have a look. So 5,000 hobbies, 2,000 music, 40,000 money, 7,000 spirituality, 30,000 tech, 5,000 health, 4,000 sports, 8,000 self-improvement, 2,000 in relationships, and
Yeah, so
5,000
music
in hobbies.
relationships is almost the same, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, 2,800, 2,200.
So both could work. If I was to message the Skool Games, the school last minute, could you change the category?
This has been difficult because I made a post a long time ago that's become a bit of a meme inside of Schoolers, which is the Boolean rule, which is basically the difference between on and off. So Boolean means that something is either true or false. There's no spectrum.
Hmm.
And the difference could be something like improve your life. That's kind of vague. Whereas
Hmm.
something that's, or like lose weight, that's kind of vague. You could lose a gram of weight and now you've lost weight
Hmm.
compared to lose 3 kilograms of weight. That's Boolean, the other one's not. The problem with
Hmm.
categories is that they're not Boolean. There's always this debate of which category does this go in, and it's kind of this and it's kind of that. So that's definitely been an interesting challenge that this new leaderboards has brought up.
That's so cool. We also just shortly before the call, you also reorganized a few categories. Maybe you can speak to that because I think I love that Skool is really making sure that it's fair.
Yep. So there was a couple groups inside of the hobbies category that were kind of hobbies related, but they were also focused on making money with that hobby. So we've been putting those groups inside of the money category because we really want to give these hobby groups a fair opportunity to win, and we want to keep them pure. Like really, if you're doing a hobby, it's a hobby because you just like doing it. You like doing it just because you like doing it. Whereas money, if you're doing a hobby to make money, then it kind of goes more in the money category. So
Hmm.
we moved a couple out from hobbies into money, and thanks Evelyn for flagging those groups.
And I really appreciated that, you know, I think this now, these games, they're so different than like some of what we've seen in Q4. And, the whole pump and dump is actually completely gone, right? So it's super refreshing to see that it came through. Do you think that it changed the dynamic of the of Skool kind of in general to erase the Skool Games separate community and to put them together? Like, how do you feel about the dynamic?
It's interesting because the Skool Games definitely had a culture that was slightly
Hmm.
different to the Skool community culture. The Skool Games culture was more, we're going to get together, we're going to grow, we're going to share what's working, and we're all going to grow together. And the Skool Games had a coach. The coach was Hormozi, who would get on weekly
Hmm.
Q&A calls and share what was working. And that was incredible. And it definitely served its purpose. But now the goal moving forwards is to bring up you guys inside of the community to be those people that are educating. We as Skool, we don't want to have too much personality. We don't want to be telling you guys what to do. We don't want to be saying, do this, this is bad, this is good. We want to elevate you guys to do more of the teaching inside of your own communities. So that's the slight change that I've noticed.
And can I just ask something? So for the next in-person games, Hormozi will still do his one day. Will it there still be recordings for
Yes.
everyone? Okay.
Yep.
And we can still find the Q&A recordings that he did somewhere?
Yep. Let me show you. So Q&A recordings can be found in Classroom, Skool Games, Q&A and one-day recordings. They're all still here inside of this.
Mm-hmm.
If you open those up, all the recordings are there. And then this month's Skool Games will be slightly different. The main difference is that it's going to be in LA instead of in Vegas. And there's going to be a trip to the Skool HQ where I am right now at the moment. So you'll be able to see where we build the platform. You'll be able to see where I sit. You'll be able to see where Sam sits. The other change is that there's going to be speakers that will come on and give a presentation. And instead of it being the Q&A format, which is a little bit all over the place, there'll be real value delivered by speakers. All of the recordings will be captured. They should be in better quality audio. The games events, we hope, will have had a significant improvement in quality, as well as this trophy that everybody will be winning as well. So it'll be sort of similar, but a little bit different.
I love it. You know what it reminds me almost like a beta program. Like the whole first year of the games was like a beta program, just building up the knowledge base. And now it's condensing it back to kind of the essence of the best, pieces, which I think is so valuable because honestly, if you go back and you action all of the Q&As that we had throughout the year, right? I mean, you have a successful community if you take action on it. And I think what also happened with the weekly Q&As, it was just becoming a way for people to actively procrastinate, kind of just listen to it, but then not doing a lot with it. So I think that ultimately this will serve people better. Although it feels like now there's kind of less, but I think that also creates the space for people to implement.
100%. All right, so there's the hobbies category. Music category. One thing that I thought was interesting here was just the difference in, I guess you can call it vibe. Like this community, it's trumpet, and this guy is wearing a suit. And then this community, this guy is wearing a chain. He's got some red
Yeah,
neon.
so cool.
Very different vibe, but both incredible.
It's so cool.
And then it looks like this Rhyme Records biggest independent record label artist. We turn artists into superstars. That's pretty cool. Then we have Marksman Producer, which is going pro as a house and techno artist. Also
So
cool.
cool.
Music funding, helping musicians get their first 20 to 60K in music funding. Interesting. And then
But this I
performance
would
art.
still say, there's a little bit, is it music or is it money? But that's pretty clearly still like the music. So
Yep. And then this is kind of similar. Secure more gigs, master social media, improve their performance skills, and grow their income streams. Money is mentioned, but it's for musicians. It's about music. We've kept
yeah,
it in the music
I think
category.
otherwise the music category might be too small. But there's a lot
Yep.
of like opportunity, different styles of music and different instruments as well.
Yep.
So cool
Very
to
true.
see.
And then the money category is where the numbers get a bit bigger.
It's just
This
crazy.
this
I
group's
think but
diary.
there's a bit of e-commerce. The wealthy plumbers is like my favorite because
Oh
think
yeah.
of all the trades, right? That could have like communities here.
Yep. And he has a free trial. That's very cool.
That's awesome, actually.
The other thing that I noticed though is it seems like this group, if their only goal was to win their Skool Games, which I'm sure it isn't, it seems like they timed their push wrong because this group has been losing MRR for the past 3 or 4 days that I noticed.
Mm.
I mean, they're still going to win, so it doesn't really matter, but just interesting to note.
Yeah, sometimes it's not a choice, right? I'm talking
True.
from experience. Um, it's like you can do all your homework as well. I do like monthly enrollment events in my community, and sometimes I do nothing like wrong or different, and I have higher numbers for the signups, etc., and it just doesn't convert as well. I think it's like a correlation, also time of the year, right? So typically, like first 2 months, we see people advertising costs, like everything is down. There's less offers, less competition, so it goes up. Now we're having the Easter time like coming up. It's more different offers, less disposable income. So, sometimes it's not like your fault. And
I acted as like, what is he doing? Churn.
no, I mean, and also churn is like hard when you're so focused on the selling, right? So when I was focused really on selling, you just pay different attention to the serving piece of it. So it's
True.
it's a little swing, like back and forth, front and back and front and back end.
True. I saw in the chat, Ellie asked, how is MRR calculated for one-time payment options? It's not. One time is not recurring, so it doesn't count in the MRR. And Joe asked, how does annual members count for the games? Annual is just divided by 12 to count for the monthly recurring revenue.
It's divided and it's capped at 99, right? So it would only count as $99. Can I ask you another question? Because somebody made me aware. Did the MRR calculation, no, the churn calculation change from people to revenue?
You mean for the Skool Games?
No, just in general, like what we're seeing in our dashboards
I don't
when we see the churn
believe
number.
there's been a change. I don't believe it, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Because I would love to know. That was flying somewhere around. I was like, oh no, I would have not heard it. So
Not 100% sure. But another group inside of money that's interesting is School of Mentors. And I think that this is really interesting because there's no one guru. He is a
oh.
guy that goes and he interviews other successful people in the streets. And then
Mm.
in this group, he brings those successful people inside of his community, but he's not being the expert, which I think is really,
Oh,
really cool.
so cool. Wow.
All right.
It's like a masterclass setup, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That's brilliant.
And then we have spirituality, where we have Nam in the #1 spot with 20,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's
It's pretty
incredible
solid.
for this niche. Elisha in #2 with 7,000, a huge drop. Oh my goodness, look how close second, third, fourth, and fifth are.
Wow.
Ooh. And I wonder, okay, so it looks like there's going to be a battle, second, third, fourth, fifth, but they're a little bit clear of sixth place. Kenny has got some work to do.
Yeah.
Then beneath spirituality, we have tech. This has also been a cool category.
I love
Initially,
that the cyber one is so cool.
oh yeah,
Like, I think
just
it's
let me
about
see.
cybersecurity. Do I understand this correctly?
I believe so. Cyber internships available, so they're even like hiring people from inside of the community.
Or connecting them maybe with employers or something like that?
Potentially. Enterprise
Mobility
tools, you get
management.
access to tools, Microsoft Sentinel. Very cool.
And like the number of cyber scams, it's exploding. Like it's such a big market. And I remember when my website was hacked, it was such a nightmare um, to, gain it back and everything. I mean, and it was very, very hard to find anyone who was able to help with that. So I can totally see like the demand for it. Such a cool thing and never thought of.
100%. Health, we covered a little bit. This group looks interesting, another group in a different language. By the way, a little tip, you can highlight a section, right click, and then click translate section to English, and then it pops up and you can translate the full page. Just a little tip for those who are trying to translate these groups. And this is another Sazafi diet, cured and reach the dream weight, another like weight loss,
Interesting.
become healthy sort of diet. Very cool.
Really cool. The
And then
Face IQ Academy was also interesting.
yeah, transform your
Is this
looks.
look maxing kind of situation?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like you can actually change your facial features with like face gymnastics or
Yeah. They have this thing called mewing. It's like you put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, apparently it changes your facial structure. I've seen quite a few groups about that as well.
that's really cool. I think YouTube might also be a good like place to just look for these trends. Like when you see videos, like because even I saw Lux Maxing videos coming onto my page, so I was like, okay, it must be a trend, right? And maybe that's helpful because this has helped me so much throughout the years. When you try to build a brand, right? What you try to do is you try to build an association in somebody's mind, right? That's not new. What might be new for some of the people listening is something that I did when I see a brand is emerging, how people are talking about it, I try to piggyback off of that and pull it in my corner. So, for example, when I started to have a $7 membership, and people were starting to refer to that membership as in your mini membership, like how do you grow your mini membership? I was like, this starts to become a term that people are referring to. So let me make it mine by making my program around it, right? So it could be like a really good idea for when you're seeing those associations are coming up. It's typically also like a zeitgeist thing, and then you can jump on it, right? So like quiet quitting was one of those. You did something like this, I think, with dopamine detox, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just about to share that a really useful tool that you can use is just Google Trends. And if you type in dopamine detox, there was a point that this was just blowing up like crazy. And what happened was I started to notice, similar to how you mentioned, people started to talk about this. And
Mm,
before, I'd never heard people talk about this before. So I started
wow.
creating content about it. And it was around this time in Feb 2020 that I started creating content about it. And I made 6 or 7 videos that blew up. I think they total 8 million views between all of the videos. Hundreds
Wow.
of thousands of subscribers came from this. So this is a valuable thing. If you start to notice people talking about something in your area, it's probably a good sign that you could make your community about this or add it into your community at least.
So cool.
Okay, so where are we up to so far? We have got to health, and then we have sports. I love sports because they're all so different to each other. We have
Mm.
pickleball, we have the Savvy Academy. Let's look at what this one is. Basketball. So we have pickleball, we have basketball, we have ultimate frisbee,
Wow.
we have skiing, and we have another basketball group. So 2 basketball groups, and aside from that, they're all incredibly different. So cool to
I
see.
mean, even skiing has like so many subcategories you can do, right?
True.
So you could, jumping, slalom, like um
Very true.
for beginners. So cool to see.
Next up is Self-Improvement with Samuel Lee in the #1 spot with Eternal Life Tribe, 14,000 new monthly recurring revenue. And my favorite community of this one is the Michael Franzese family. Have you
Yes,
seen
I
this?
saw it. Yes, I was like, "What's happening?" First, I'm not gonna lie. I'm the grandma here, so I was shocked. I was like seeing it, and I was like, and then I was like looking into it, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." It reminds me a little bit of, there's this guy on YouTube. He has a big podcast. Matthew, help me here.
I don't know.
Um, Matthew Cox, could it be?
Okay,
Um,
maybe.
he was a fraudster and he was in jail, and now he's kind of reporting on all kinds of scams and crimes, and so it's like a really cool podcast to listen to. And it's such a beautiful, I think this is also a thing of like monetizing your personal growth journey, because it's like a turning your into gold situation where you can, it's like wherever starting point you feel like is the reason why you can't do it, it might be the exact reason why you have such a unique story to do it, right? So um and I mean, if that is successful, I mean, no matter what you think, for what reasons you're not capable of doing it, it might be the exact reason why you should be, and show others that it's possible.
There's another group that I saw of some guy who was in prison for 8 years or something like that. And then he came out and he's sharing, I think it was like his mindset that he developed, the discipline and everything he developed through prison. So that was cool to see as well.
There is actually a few like YouTube influencers that are kind of coming out from prison, turning that into content around it. I think sobriety is like a similar topic. I think it's
Yep.
so amazing if you can help others from that journey. There's one more cool one that I would really love to dive into in this category,
Yep.
because I also think that that's maybe an underlooked opportunity for some people. So here's the Homegrown Humans. And I believe from what I see here is that he wrote a book first, and the community is around the book. That's what I understood from like diving into the VSL. And so I think that's also a really great opportunity for people um, who, you know, have maybe published a book. So
Yeah, I think it said non-fiction books. Here's a selection of fiction and non-fiction books.
so there's a component to it.
Yep. Still though, authors starting school communities about that book, that's genius. That would be so
Yeah,
cool.
I have a super wonderful member in my mastermind, and she has created with Laura, you know, also
Oh
from
yeah.
school. Like,
Yeah.
so Laura has helped her to create a journal. So that's how she came onto school. Now
Nice.
she has done this journal, and now she's like, I could actually create a school community around the journal, and the journal is nervous system regulation through doodling,
Oh
which is
wow.
also like a super niche, right? But I think she's just launching. I think she's up to 50 members or something with the community around a journaling where you doodle to regulate your nervous system. So
Amazing.
also, you know, like I think a really cool thing if you have a physical product to build community around it. I mean, it's what you guys are doing as well, right?
Yeah, we are pretty close. Yeah, we have a software. That's very cool. And then finally, we have relationships with Casey Zander, who I think it's the classic guy get good at dating women sort of community. But we
Like
also,
the
oh, go for
former
it.
pickup artists, right? So it's all coming back. The trends are all
Very
coming
true.
back.
Then the next chapter,
That's also
which is
cool.
Heal and Thrive After Divorce. Very cool. Ming Feng, AOS, Agents of Speech. So this one is so wholesome. Getting your feedback to getting your child to talk at home. So for all parents who have
Oh,
non-verbal children, this community helps your child speak at home. Very wholesome.
beautiful. So helpful.
Then Dating with Gracie, who I believe helps guys as well, but it's
The
just a
other way
female.
around.
Exactly.
I like it. That's
And then,
good. That's 2025. Much
yeah.
more.
And then Shawn Michael, Men's Dating Academy. I'm guessing sort of similar to Casey Sanders sort of thing. That's a funny, funny image.
And you know, it's similar like with the Get Lean. It's like certain things people just want, right? And you can be their guide because of like, and he is a total different vibe like Casey, right? So both just have their own vibe and help people then in a different way.
And there's a couple
Cool.
other things that I wanted to show before we wrapped up. One of them, we used to have the affiliate leaderboard. We still have
Mm.
that. It's just not public. So the top 5 people who refer the most people to school during these 90 days get to come to this event just like everybody else. So I have our internal dashboard to see who is top
Ooh,
5 for the affiliates
okay.
leaderboard that I'll be revealing live on the call for the first time. We ready?
I need to do drum rolls. You
Drum roll,
need sound
please.
buttons for the school news.
Oh, imagine that would be so good.
That would be amazing. With
The ka-ching.
Hormozi speak and oh, that would be awesome.
All right, let's do it. Number 1 spot, we have Jesse Kroon with
Mm.
$34,000 in new monthly recurring revenue just by promoting school, which is
Everyone wants to know
amazing.
about what Jesse is doing. It's like if one day he makes a course about it, it's gonna be exploding.
Number 2, Henry with 17K. Number 3, Michelle, 7K. Number 4, Huang, 5K. 5, Dr. Oliver Pott, who I believe is also in Germany.
He's German, yeah, yeah.
Spreading the good word, shout out to him. $3,000. Hamza in 6th. Rodrigo in 7th. 8th is Timer. 8, 9 in Devon. Shout out to Devon with School Ads Lab. And Denise
I
in the
love
10th
Devon, he's
spot.
amazing.
Devon's great. So that is the affiliate leaderboard for those who are asking. And
Very
then the
cool. And
final
is the
thing,
affiliate leaderboard also doing maintained MRR?
yes, that's new monthly recurring revenue.
Okay, perfect.
Final thing I wanted to show to end on the call is this little hype video that we've created for Skool Community, and then we'll end it. All right, let's do this. It's a minute long.
Here we go.
Every quarter, the top community builders compete to see who can grow their community the most. Wait, the volume is down. Let me start that again. Every quarter, the top community builders compete to see who can grow their community the most. The winners get an all-expense paid trip to LA to connect and mastermind. And then after, they celebrate. Cool. When winners connect with other winners face to face, everything changes. Skool Games Q1 ends March 28th. Who will win?
So excited for the winners. It's gonna be so awesome.
And there we have it. 72 hours to go. Shout out to everybody who's winning. And if you want to compete, Q2 starts April the 1st. So we're going again. Come to LA. Thanks everybody for showing up. Thanks Evelyn for hosting.
Thank
And I
you.
will see you all soon.
Thank you. Bye.